And then we see this great subplot developing where we see him selling machine guns to a guy that looks like, I don't know, what, a bad company roadie is what I would say.
Sure, I'll buy that.
Like, you know,
Angel dust dealer at a Grand Funk Railroad show.
There you go. Yeah. That's better.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
Everybody!
Yeah!
We're back!
Yeah, man.
Welcome back, everybody. We're sorry, but we're back. Took us about it's been one fucking month since we've recorded an episode.
That's right.
But we're back, of course. I'm Evan Husney, and this is the show where we talk about one goddamn movie, and we just have one fucking hour to do it. To my left, returning alongside me, is Big T, Tom Fitz-G. What's going on, Tom? Tom.
Gangnam Style.
That's a good one. I haven't heard
That's
that one.
what's going on.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's good. And of course, returning here as always to my right, we got Mr. Marcus Herring. Marcus, welcome back.
Yeah, it's a bummer to be gone for so long, but you know, it's nice to get out of the house, get in the sun, get a tan. You know, I think we're all looking like get a little sunshine on our faces.
Totally.
Just staring at a computer screen for
absolutely. Let's address the rumors right out of the gate. You know, we've been gone. A lot of life things have come in the way. A lot of summer vacations have happened. Work/things. But let's talk about the big news. I guess I should let the cat out of the bag. I guess, what is it now? A month ago since we recorded this thereabouts. I should know this more than anybody. I got married, guys. I'm a married man. So thank you very much. Yes, that's right. If you haven't been paying attention to the show, Rémy and I got married, so we're together. Yes, of course. If you didn't know,
you guys met on one fucking hour, which is so crazy.
That's right. Yes, we did. We met at the water cooler in the one fucking hour offices, and the rest is history. No, but we had an incredible wedding celebration. You guys showed up for it, which was awesome.
We flew an aeroplane.
Yes, so we had
to this.
Yes, which was amazing.
Tom's a lot shorter in person than I thought he'd be.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it's funny.
4'11",
5'7".
Yeah.
Tom Cruise height.
Yes. But it was amazing. And the best part of the, other than, you know, of course, the getting married part and everybody being there and the family and the friends and all that stuff and the food, the good food, you know,
it was great.
which was amazing. Was that we had this killer after party, okay, and we're gonna cut to some footage here, and I have YouTube links to the after party. It's in the description of this video you're watching right now. If y'all want to kind of live vicariously through the folks
your
over
bonus
there.
episode for this month.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, really.
We had a killer wedding after party where Tom did the visuals. He was VJing some visuals as he do. And then we had Bloody Sabbath, Long Island's best Black Sabbath cover band, play. They fucking killed it. I got on stage, played a few songs with those guys, and we just tore the fucking house down.
Into the Void.
Yes. Children of the Grave. Oh, yeah. Lord of this World.
It was a mega
shredding. I mean, like literally shredding happening. Like I didn't even know. Evan's been pretty quiet about that. He could even play guitar, and he shreds. Like he's
yeah.
The secret is out, I guess.
Like Alex Lifeson over here.
Right. Like he gets off the show and he starts practicing his pentatonic and Dorian scales.
Yeah, exactly. But
but the whole night was just so fun. It was great to see. Like there was just a random selection of people because it was like a wedding reception. So they were all headbanging.
I know.
It was very joyous and big and wild and crazy. We were all drinking.
It was great.
So fun.
There were moms throwing the devil symbol and
throwing
stuff.
the devil horns.
Aunts and uncles thrashing around. It was great.
Yeah.
And the performance was great, and Tom did an amazing job providing these just hilarious and amazing psychedelic imagery that accompanied this band.
So great.
Which was amazing. So
I wanted to take it on tour.
I know.
I was like, Let's all quit our day jobs.
I know.
You and me, Evan.
Yeah.
We go off with the
Tom
Long
was
Island
immediately
boys.
trying to steal Evan from Rémy to go on
Rémy,
tour around
my
the
job,
world.
the pod.
Well, she'd join us. She'd be the seamstress.
Right. Right.
No, but no, I was like, let's go. We'll do L.A., San Francisco, Seattle, Portland.
Sure.
And because hipsters would eat this for lunch.
I know, they would. It was pretty spectacular.
I still feel that way.
I actually might play with them again in the middle of this month. So if anyone's in the Long Island, New York area, follow me on Instagram because I might do another guest spot with this band in the middle of the month. They fucking rip, and so it was a blast. So it was a blast. So
It's a good Aussie, like
really good.
Wow,
Aussie.
yeah.
Good
yeah,
Aussie vocal.
That's so important. Yeah,
Good
the lead
Aussie
singers really
vocal.
nails his Aussie.
Totally. So that happened. So then that immediately after that was our honeymoon. So we went to Greece for 2 weeks. Then we came back. Then I thought we were going to be recording as soon as I got back. So there'd only be the 2 week lag. But of course, I got like, you got to go to England right now for work. So I had to go back to Europe for about a week. Marcus then had a family vacation. So it fucked us all up. But here we are. We're back. And we're ready to do this, and we're ready to get into it. And now I guess we are commencing officially the One Fucking Hour Crime Time, guys. This is our One Fucking Summer series, crime film series, all summer long until presumably we butt up against my birthday episode and then the One Fucking Tober, right? When we get into
Perfect timing.
the horror film. So strap in because we're going to be covering crime films all summer long. It's going to be, we're going to hit 70s, 80s, 90s, probably maybe something from the 2000s, a doc maybe. We're going to hit all sorts of different types of stuff. So, but tonight we're kicking it off with a film that has been on our short list since the very beginning of launching this show 4 years ago.
Honestly, it's true. It's ironic that it took us so long to get here, but
Yeah.
I remember I had just watched it. This is now a few years ago, right before One Fucking Hour started, and I was blown away. I wasn't ever sure I'd be that interested in this film. I was like, this is boring, but I was blown away. I loved it just as cinema. I was like, this is great. And I just mentioned it to you, and you're like, oh, that movie's fucking awesome.
Love
and
it.
you're like, I have the book. And I was like, oh, get down. Let's do this. And I
Yeah.
thought we'd be doing Eddie Coyle like 3 weeks into One Fucking Hour.
No, I know. And it's kind of surprising we didn't. So here we are. That's what we're doing. Tonight's film is One Fucking Hour on Eddie Coyle. I believe, guys, is this episode 140 or was that last week? I can't even fucking remember.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it
have our
out.
accounts. Okay.
Check in the description if you want to follow along, but I think it's either 140 or 141. Who gives a shit? Let's get ready to do this. But before we do, of course, we have to give a quick shout out to the One Fucking Hour Patreon. Patreon.com/One Fucking Hour is where you can sign up for just $5 a month. Best way to support the show if you like what we're doing. Keeps the lights on over here. And hey, I have to admit, a lot of people did sign up for the Patreon while we were away, which was great. So I appreciate everyone signing up. Versus,
Well, we're back. We're ready to work. We're
We
ready
are.
to make amends.
we
right?
are. No, but I think people signed up, who haven't signed up before to catch all the bonus eps because we're not, actively doing new eps. So we appreciate you guys signing up versus canceling that month. But anyway, we're getting back to work. We have our next bonus episode lined up, and of course, the bonus eps you can only watch up on the Patreon or on YouTube if you join our channel. And you can do that, same price, same benefits. If you go to our channel homepage, click the join button, become a moment of the YouTube channel. But our next bonus episode is quite random, but I think it's going to be very fun. We're going to get into, we're big MST3K, Mystery Science Theater 3000 fans here on the channel. We all grew up with it. We love it. Big part of our journey through film.
Our filmic DNA.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into our favorite episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000, of course, from the classic era of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And
Disclaimer.
They're all from the one that came out last year.
They're all from like 2 years ago.
the reboot. Yeah.
Whoa! A lot of Jonah Ray.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, shout out Jonah. He's a friend. But anyway,
God bless him. But
No,
he's
I love
not. He's not the boys.
I know he's
from
not the
90s.
boys, but anyway, so but yes, we're going to be getting into that. So if you want to check that out, of course, make sure to get up on the Patreon, patreon.com/onefuckinghour, or become a moment of the YouTube channel. And that should drop soon. We'll probably record that sooner rather than later.
And it's part of the big celebration, the halfway to Turkey Day.
Yes.
That's commencing now here in the summer as the boys are celebrating with a marathon on YouTube.
That's right.
It just kind of sparked our
That's right. They have like a 24-hour marathon on YouTube
it just
happening.
goes and goes
Love
and goes
that.
on YouTube.
Love
It's
that.
beautiful.
So
It stinks.
oh, we're going to be talking about that for sure. So anyway, all right. Well, let's get into the episode, guys. Are you ready for Eddie Coyle? Should we just fucking do it? Should we rip it up? Do it?
Do it.
I think it's time to... Oh, wait. It's time to...
Start the clock.
There we go. All right. Let's get everything locked and loaded over here. Let me get the clock going here. All right. Here we go. 3, locked and loaded. 3, 2... Okay, here we go. It's the Friends of Eddie Coyle, and of course, as customary on the show, I'm going to read a little brief synopsis of this film. In one of the best performances of his legendary career, Robert Mitchum plays small-time gun runner Eddie Fingers Coyle in Peter Yates' adaptation of George V. Higgins' acclaimed novel, The Friends of Eddie Coyle. World-weary and living hand-to-mouth, Coyle works on the sidelines of the seedy Boston underworld just to make ends meet. But when he finds himself facing a second stretch of hard time, he's forced to weigh loyalty to his criminal colleagues against snitching to stay free. Directed with a sharp eye for its gritty locales, something I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about, and an open heart for its less than heroic characters, this is one of the true treasures of 1970s Hollywood filmmaking. A suspenseful crime drama in stark, unforgiving daylight. Love that.
Yeah, not bad.
So that's what we're going to get into for tonight, guys. And as Tom alluded to in the intro, of course I have to, with this, I love this movie. And I remember when I saw this in a store or something, I had to pick it up. This is the first edition of The Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Wow, look at that.
Of course. Look how cool that is, right? Isn't that awesome?
Cool.
Yeah.
The blue gun. 1970,
Hardcover.
I believe.
1970, yeah, which is really cool. And something that's interesting about this book, because I, of course, was a big fan of the movie first and then went to, check the source material out. But this has got to be one of the most faithfully adapted movies of all time because the actual novel reads like a script for the film. What's very interesting about it is, George Higgins, he was very keen on having the characters' dialogue in the story basically tell you the story. I think I'm paraphrasing, but has a quote out there. It's like, not my job to tell you the story. It's the character's job to tell you the story. And what's really interesting about how the filmmakers approached adapting it is which is very rare, it doesn't happen all that often, but they decided to adhere to that aesthetic. I mean, that's pretty interesting. So, I mean, when you read this book, it's just the dialogue is taking you through it. It's almost word for word of what's in the film itself. But the fact that they stayed true to that, and that's what's really interesting about this movie, maybe something we could start off with, is you're kind of dropped into the world of these small-time crooks, if you will, in Boston, and you're kind of eavesdropping on a series of just dialogue exchanges between these characters, and that kind of orients you and situates, and you kind of, nothing's spelled out to you, nothing's handheld to you, they're not holding your hand through it, you're just kind of observing these dialogue pieces and having to piece together almost what's going on in the film. And Kent Jones, movie critic, wrote about this movie, which I think is very spot on. He said that the film is really a melancholy succession of clandestine encounters conducted in the least picturesque parts of the greater Boston area during the late fall and going into winter, which is amazing. And that's really what it is. It's just a series, other than the really awesome, bank robbery scenes and, of course, the ending. But you're really just kind of dropped into a sort of inside baseball world of these criminals.
Absolutely. It's just like you're at a diner drinking bad coffee and eating like key lime pie and just chatting. Yeah. And, but, there's the power in, I think there's a couple things, like the acting, not just Mitchum, who's incredible, that face, the way he carries himself and he embodies that character. But then all the smaller performances are really killer.
Great
so the
cast.
performances, the great cast, great casting, but then very lived in. But then it's also it rings true because from what I understand, the writer was a DA in Boston.
Yes. Yeah. He has a
Right?
background of, I think, being a prosecutor and then being a criminal defendant. And so he's very familiar with probably true to life, gritty, real life crime. And that's the thing about this.
And on like really big cases too, right? He was
Yes, he was. That's right. You're right. He was. But the thing that's really interesting about this is that this movie, there is nothing seductive about it. This is not a Martin Scorsese glorification of the life of crime.
No.
This is literally like the lowest on the totem pole you can get in some ways.
No, it's like can we wrap up this conversation about knocking this guy off? The bus is coming.
Yeah, right.
Like motherfuckers like waiting for buses and stuff.
Or
like
like
fighting over like $20.
yeah, like $80 and stuff. It's,
Right.
Jesus.
Right. Turning in your friends up for $20.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly. And
God
that's
damn.
and that's real life. I mean, that's more true to life than sometimes the movies can be. Sorry, Marcus.
Oh no, it's just that it makes you question whether or not crime pays at all. Eddie's house is like kind of it's very dirty, kind of dumpy. It's very working class.
Very much.
It looks like he might be like a pipe fitter or something. That should be his or like a truck driver.
He is a truck driver. That's what he does.
Right.
Yeah, he's a truck driver.
But his like little side hustle doing crime isn't getting him all the goodies that we see, or any sort of opulence or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, and you contrast that with like The Godfather from just the year before.
Yeah.
Right, and you've got the
The grandiosity, the cinematic, flourishes.
There's been let's talk for years about the tiers of the underworld, bosses being represented in mafia movies, and it starts more or less with The Godfather, and you're at the top. It's like very high minded. It's like, yeah, I'm glad you came and visited me this afternoon in my beautiful library.
My Oakwood
right,
library.
exactly. But then Scorsese intentionally undercut that and said, there's all these guys, there's one crime boss, and then there's all these guys who are just scrambling around. So you get like Goodfellas, let's say.
Sure.
Now, Goodfellas, though, they're doing pretty well. They're making serious loot, and there's a lot of like celebration and like stuffing their jackets with cash. So what I'm saying is there's a strata, and these guys are way down.
Way down.
Like I guess they're like no one here is even in the running for being a made man.
They're like soldiers.
Right.
They're like somebody's soldiers,
They're like sub soldiers because I think they
Right.
do. They're like still have day jobs, and they're just kind of they're tangentially involved in the underworld just to make seriously like an extra $80 a week or something.
right. They wouldn't even be given like character names on The Sopranos or something.
Right,
They'd just be
exactly.
like background characters.
Right. Which I love. Okay, let me just say that I think
That's the best.
I think movies are as like exponentially can possibly be better. Like there's some sort of like formula math equation with how small time the crime is how good the film can possibly be.
Exactly.
It's it's so much more interesting when you're getting to that desperation and you're getting into these characters, who are giving up their friends for nothing, to perpetuate this really mediocre existence.
And what it is really, I was thinking about it, like the way the film ends. Spoiler alert, all day, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course, always.
Will you watch this film? Yeah. Right. But just like Peter Boyle at the end, sells out Eddie Coyle. And, you can feel the performance is very nice. I'm just hinting at what we'll talk about later.
Sure.
But just like the notes left in the film are Peter Boyle has a little bit of regret in him. But really what you're seeing on the face of Peter Boyle at the very end of the film is just like, I survived another day.
Yeah, I know.
This is actually about survival.
It is 100%. That is what it's about. And on that note, obviously the title, The Friends of Eddie Coyle, is a little coy, if you will, because it's it's not a sincere in meaning that he has friends or these people are his friends, because everybody in this world and in this setting is expendable. Everybody is playing one side off the other in order to stay alive. This is a glamourless, as I said, gray sort of dog-eat-dog underworld that this movie is exploring. And that's what's so captivating about it. But also what's captivating about it is the cinematic approach that Peter Yates takes with this film, because it's so cool that it's so stripped down. Like, again, it goes perfectly with the type of small time gritty crime that we're talking about. like this again, like the cinematography is not seductive. You know, it's stripped down. It's very observant, eavesdropping.
There's no music supervision where it's like, and then drop in jumping jack flash, you know, and he walks through the bar. Like it's not sexy at all.
No.
It does all. It all feels like in pursuit of naturalism, in pursuit of realism. Like you're saying, the small timeness of the crimes and the execution of the film, like really supports that.
And if I can add to that, everything we're saying is you could not have a setting better served than Boston in February. Boston in February.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking about that, like dead trees, gray days, 100% every day, cold, I'm sure. And like in Boston's weird. I don't know how much you guys know Boston, but like
a little bit.
It's same here. It's just it always bums me out. It's a big city, but it's like there's something there's an energy sap in it. I'm sure you could have a good time in Boston. Cambridge is cool, but like it's just it's a big city, but it just looks like no one's having any fun, and they're just waiting for the bus and waiting to get.
There's
through
a harshness
the day.
to it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's an urban dread is everywhere in Boston. So you don't have to do much, is what I'm saying, to dress it up for a bleak story. Just like turn the camera on any Boston street.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, so the style of the film being, you know, very observant and artless in some ways, you could even say, you know, which is very cool because it does give this film a sort of European feel to it, like a French feel. I even thought maybe a filmmaker that'll be making an appearance later on in our series, but it feels at times like a Jean-Pierre Melville movie or something, which I think is a very cool approach that this movie has. Or at least the style of this movie has.
It does fit that sort of 70s trend of like the filmmakers that came out of this era, or the people who grew up watching the first era of people who watched those French movies.
Totally,
and felt and then were influenced by them.
Yeah, and that's very evident, of course, when we get to the bank robbery scenes. Those feel so, you know, just underplayed as what you'd see like in A Dog Day Afternoon or something, you know.
Yeah. Everything from the actors' performances to the shots to the pacing of it all and the quietness of it all too. Yeah, the movie's like weirdly quiet 99% of the time. And but all I was going to say, just the thing that captivates me is I'm a sucker for a European aesthetic, as we were saying, but set in like
Boston.
Dead, middle of nowhere America. Like a distinctly American setting with European sensibilities. That to me is always
very cool.
It's very special.
Very cool. So
I do think, well, I would just say about the style, I do think that even though it is really stripped down and the cinematography is pretty nice. Though, you know,
totally.
Yeah.
And there's some great shots, and especially with the interiors, where they light interiors, and it'll be like there's a part where they're in like a really dark bar towards the end, and Robert Mitchum's talking with the cop, and it's like it feels like everything's like this kind of cinematic blackness around them, and they're just in a dark sort of like Irish pub or something.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The DP Victor Kemper, you know, I always like to kind of see what the rest of these guys have done, you know.
Howard the Duck, right?
That's coming. Don't.
It's always like that, right? But it is always like that.
It is. So it's like, on one end of his career, you've got Cassavetes' husband, you know, you've got some OFH classics like Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, we talked about him recently. I feel like.
Yeah, we did. He did Mikey and Nikki also, which we've done.
Oh shit!
Shout out.
And then at the other end of his career, you've got Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Hot to Trot, Beethoven, and Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, Hot Dog the movie. Yeah, love that. They always go to Jingle All the Way, like.
Yeah,
I guess because
that's where we all wind up.
Yeah, Hollywood,
right?
Hollywood changed so much.
That'll be the final OFH
I know, exactly.
episode, right? Exactly.
Yeah. I have a funny story about that, the production of that film involving me, but we'll get to that when we get to that movie.
Maybe we'll
move it up the queue. Okay, so one thing to talk about, which is interesting. Obviously, a lot of research was done going into this film as well, from the point of view of the actors. I mean, we mentioned Robert Mitchum. You know, this is, again, it's also great to see a performance from this era, not like a sort of Tarantino 90s, 2000s thing of when you have sort of an actor who's maybe, quote unquote, a little past his, quote unquote, prime, but who's killing it, you know, and he's in this role. And this is one of his best, you know, like hands down. I mean, you know, his face, as you mentioned earlier, is doing a lot of work. But his mastery of the Boston accent in this film is there's a lot of people talk about that. It's not an easy accent to get.
And were you going to say? I've heard that he bummed around at bars with underworld guys in Boston.
Well, there's rumors out there that he allegedly hung out with the Winter Hill Gang and Whitey Bulger. That was like the sort of rumor. I don't know if it's been substantiated, but that he prepped for that role by hanging out with these real, like the real dudes in Boston. And of course, there's another Whitey Bulger connection, which is very interesting. Is Alex Rocco is in this film. He plays, help me, the name.
Mel Green.
No, but in this film,
I can't remember. It starts with an S.
Scalise.
Oh, Scalise. Thank you.
Yeah,
he plays Scalise. But so he allegedly was one of these low level, crime guys in the sort of that family of the Winter Hill Gang in Boston. And I guess he kind of left this life and moved out to Los Angeles, decided to become an actor, changed his name. He's got a very Italian, sounding name, and I can't remember what his original is.
Like an even more Italian sounding
than Alexander
Petricone.
Petricone, there you go. Alex Petricone. And he changed his name to Alex Rocco, became an actor, but the guys in Whitey Bulger's gang had no idea what the fuck happened to him until, of course, they went to go see The Godfather a year before this and see him as Mo Green. Which I love. I love
That's
that.
Wild.
Because from what I heard is one day he just disappeared. Like he's at the bar in Boston, then at 7 a.m. he got a Greyhound and he got the fuck out of there. The weird thing about Alex Rocco is right around this time, he was doing, of course, The Godfather in this, but in like the same year in 1972 as The Godfather, he made weird trash still.
I know.
He did this movie that's very fucked up. I watched it recently, The Wild Riders, which is like this movie about he's a biker creep and like him and this guy these women in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, and it's just like he did total sleaze scuzz movies.
I love it.
And then he went high prestige with this and Godfather.
Yeah,
he's great,
which is amazing. He's really good in this movie as Scalise.
Oh yeah,
by the way, and the way that, of course, we'll get into those amazing sort of bank robber masks that he wears throughout the film.
And just to maybe bookends on what we're talking about. That character, who's the prime bank robber, Alex Rocco's character, he is on the Goodfellas strata. Mm-hmm. Like he's working, and like I overheard a line in the movie where he's like, they were pulling in like a quarter mil.
Yeah. Well, from these jobs, yeah.
Right. And so like he is like shooting guns in the air and like having rolls of cash and playing poker and shooting guys' toes out and stuff like. So he's that strata.
Yeah.
In the reality of this film, in the Goodfellas meter.
Yeah.
One thing that's about Robert Mitchum's performance in this is like, he's like this huge movie star, but he's not like outshining everybody else. You know what I mean? No. Like you don't hang the movie on his performance is amazing, but you don't hang the movie on his performance. He's just one of these many people in this film. I thought that was interesting.
He's not even in it as much as you might think.
I think it's like comes out to like he's in like half of the movie or something.
Right.
Which is amazing. I mean, he really is playing it pretty restrained, and he's definitely feeling the vibes that
I think restrained is the key word for this whole film.
It is.
From the performances to like you were just saying though before, Marcus, about like there's some really impressive cinematography, but none of it's showy. Like there's no rock and roll energy, which I don't think is good or bad, but like it distinguishes itself from Scorsese, even back to Mean Streets. And even the bravado of like Coppola with like a big set piece, like the the massacre during the the church ceremony. What is that shit? Ave Maria's.
Oh yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like the flourishes. Like this film, I can't even imagine a film like a flourish like that happening in this film.
Right. The lack of flourish shows just the intentionality of the director went in to make a movie that is so restrained like that. I mean, that's incredible. People. I can't think of the last movie where someone tried that.
I know it's rare.
It's rare.
It is rare. But I almost would assume that. The sort of Brit crime. This is the guy that did Bullet, by the way, which is very interesting.
Right.
Like Peter Yates did Bullet, and that's to me feels completely different than this in a lot of ways.
No, it's true. Some people compare it. He didn't make it, but they compare it to Get Carter somewhat, the British film with Michael Caine. I agree, actually. Yeah, there's something to that.
Yeah.
So like a downbeat, realistic depiction of like British small-time crime machinations. So,
Right. And it's not like it's Peter Yates' calling card either. Like it's just something he tried on this film.
Later he did Breaking Away.
I know, which is very cool.
Which we must cover.
We will.
And Crawl. He did Crawl too.
There you go. And Howard the Duck too.
Yeah. Kroll. I love this from the director of Kroll. Because even at times, and this is not a diss, it's just kind of like it does feel like it could be like a Rockford Files, episode or something.
I got you.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love about it, because it is so dialogue heavy, but it does work really well. And then of course, I think that like the showiest he gets is when he's really doing more handheld verite stuff, which you see, of course, in the hockey game. We'll talk about and some of the other driving set pieces. It's just great. It's fantastic. But anyway, the film, like the first real set piece we can get into, with this film is, of course, the introduction of Eddie Fingers, Eddie Coyle, as he's walking into this this like grimy cafeteria, something you don't really see anymore at all. Those like all-nighter.
Just imagine the coffee they're drinking.
I know. Yeah, like burnt and watered down and
those sort of like plastic molded like benches, Totally. I think there's one in After Hours. It's a similar kind of coffee shop he goes to in After Hours.
Dusty Pie.
Yes, goes in, gets the Dusty Pie, and sits down across from Jackie Brown, of course.
Which threw me off when I first saw this,
Yeah, of course.
That is weird.
Makes you wonder, of course, if that was the inspiration for QT, Shout out to our...
right?
It has to be, I would imagine. Shout out to our Jackie Brown episode in the archives.
That's right. Oh, it must be. And kudos to that actor. I'm forgetting his name.
Oh yeah, I'll look it up. He's great.
Jesus Christ. He's really great. He's the young, long-haired gun runner that Mitchum's working with.
Stephen Keats, Marcus.
Stephen Keats. Now it seems like by the way, all of us, I think, when we're seeing him, we're going, oh yeah, he's so great. I love him and stuff, right? But then I looked at his filmography and it's like he didn't do much. Like he's a little bit in Death Wish a year later. This is his first film. But maybe he did a lot of television. I don't know.
He's in The Gambler, which I remember him from, which is a fucking insane movie at some point.
We'll have to do that too.
Yeah, I know. We should consider that movie.
Maybe this.
I know. The Gambler is wild.
Oh, I was just rewatching that. Yeah. So no, but he's great. And there's this kind of, I don't know if grotesque is the right word, but like there's this sort of sad father-son criminal thing going on between Mitchum,
apprentice, mentor,
and this young buck apprentice gun runner guy. Yeah. And he's like, listen, pal, I've seen a lot of blah, blah, blahs, and I just know that you're walking right into a bluggajaw. But the thing is, just as this film progresses, I've seen somebody point out, at first you feel like Mitchum like has some authority over like the crime world, but he fucks up. He like misses cues. He like makes bad assumptions, and by the end he plays himself, and he's like really kind of not very good at this, and he has no right to give any advice to anyone.
He feels like one of those very flawed, like a Sopranos B character or something,
even
C level, who comes in, these people are not criminal masterminds in this film, and that's what I think is so special about this movie, is because we're really living in the world of people who are, subpar criminals and the bad choices they make and the impulses.
C-listers.
C-listers, yeah, right.
That's a little coin here.
Yeah, right. There you go.
I think because it's so restrained, the characters play their cards close to the vest. You don't know exactly what's going on in their heads or whatever. So I don't know if it's because that character was named Jackie Brown or not, but in my head, I kept hoping for, there's a part of me that hoped that Robert Mitchum's character would kind of figure it all out and in the end, he would come out on top, or trick, he would set a trap for the other guy. He gets Peter Boyle instead, whatever. You keep hoping for that to happen. But
never happens. We're going to get to that.
He's like one step behind everything, kind of.
Yeah, totally. We're going to get to that for sure. So they're at the cafeteria, and now we're setting up this sort of relationship between Coyle and Brown this idea that Coyle is an intermediary gun runner for these guys, Scalise and so on and so forth, and Artie or whatever, and that they're going to be doing these bank robberies in the suburbs of Boston. And Jackie Brown is the supplier of the guns, and he gets them from his network. So there's kind of these low level networks sort of happening between the two, and here's the two intermediary guys.
Like shopping bags of Lugers.
Yeah, right. I love it. So you sort of get that dynamic, like, don't fuck me around, do this, got to get the guns by tomorrow at night, and and so that kind of sets up, the dynamic between those two. And then we are introduced, Coyle then goes to Peter Boyle's bar, where Peter Boyle is in this film. Again, another just
he's so good,
heavy hitter of the era,
knocking it out the park as always.
Absolutely. And so he plays this, I guess, low level mafia hitman character who's also the bartender there, and you sort of understand through somewhat stylish, mob guy conversation that Peter Boyle got Robert Mitchum this job to run some booze, from Boston to like the Pacific Northwest, and he got popped. And he's going to have to now face this prison sentence at some juncture in the near future, probably going away for 2-ish years. But we understand that, this is a guy who's he's over 50 years old. He's had a life of crime. He's probably been locked up many times.
Dude, he's got a family.
He's got a
three
family.
little kids, a loving wife.
Yep.
And that's what you're getting into is actually a huge part of the film.
Yes.
Because what does motivate any character in any film? And in crime films, what motivates them? Is it greed? Is it whatever?
Power.
But for him, I think it's partly survival. Like I don't want to go to jail.
Yes.
But I think you're hitting on it because it is a man who's in his 50s now, and for him, it feels beneath him to drop the soap and like lights out at 10 o'clock. Like it's emasculating to him.
You know what I think?
And I don't think he can look at his children and wife in the eyes and be like, I'm going to go to jail for 2 years and be like a sucker.
I think
that's part of it.
I think that's part of it, but I do think also because, which we'll get to shortly, Coyle does have this relationship with Dave Foley. Like I love the great counterpart names here, avatar names in this. But Dave Foley, who is our sort of I guess ATF officer of some kind here in this film, he has a relationship where he's trying to get out of this upcoming prison sentence by basically ratting on people and trying to get a leniency on his sentence. But I think he's also fearful of going to prison because he knows, and he alludes to this in the film, that he's probably going to get motherfucking shanked.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it's a death sentence. That's a good point. Yeah, it's a death sentence because he'll be trapped amongst people who know that there's a price on his head because he's been a low-level rat probably before seeing him in this reality when the film starts. No, that's a good point. But I think they're interrelated.
There is
because I don't think I think what I'm trying to say is he
wants to hang it up too a little bit.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I think there's it's the old lion. 25 years earlier, he might have said, I'll do 2 years. It'll probably wind up being 8 months, which is what Peter Boyle says. Like, dude, it's going to be 8 months. A third of the
sentence,
term. Yeah. Right. So what I'm saying is that's common. It's hey, you've done time before, you do time again. It's it's part of the process. And almost I could see it in Peter Boyle's reaction. What are you even sweating 2 years?
Yeah, I know.
We've all done 2 years, and we're all ready to do 2 years.
This is the life. We chose this life. We know the consequences.
Exactly. What I'm saying is he's making it so life or death, which I think does relate to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where he's painted himself into a corner by being a rat and now going to jail.
Yeah.
But I think it's also he's just because he alludes to that too. He says. He's against and then my wife and kids will be on welfare.
Yes.
Black people, so there's this weird kind of pride. What I'm saying is very much a male Irish Boston thing is male pride.
Sure.
And I think that's related to I'd rather die on my 2 feet out in the streets and not in jail. So
right.
I think there's something.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So, so we understand that there is that relationship between Boyle and Coyle, is the
Peter Coyle.
Peter Coyle is the idea that it's because of Peter Boyle's gig that he gave him, and he got popped on that gig, or maybe it's maybe it's Coyle's fault that he got popped.
Well, I was just going to say my fan fiction theory is in observing how Peter Boyle behaves and how he thinks of Coyle. I feel like he might have set him up. Peter Boyle set it up so it's like, oh, he's going to take the rap for those that's stolen merchandise.
Totally.
Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, because this guy Coyle's kind of a dope.
I believe that.
Because right. And then all he does is do that again later in the film, right at the end.
So much is implied of that because.
Thank you.
Because what you see is, which we'll get to, but I guess we can get to now, is the idea that when it's revealed that Eddie Coyle, after he's having this meeting with Jackie Brown, okay, we're seeing these guys, they're dealing in, lots of guns, 30 guns they're going to buy, for these bank robberies. But then immediately after it, or shortly thereafter, we're seeing Coyle walking with Dave Foley, this ATF agent, and working with him. So now we're established. Okay, there's some ratting going on, but then shortly after that, we see Peter Boyle walking with Dave Foley and him feeding him information, and so it's all these things are happening without the other really knowing, and we're never quite sure what Peter Boyle's situation is, and even the whole film, we don't know if he's trying to get some sentence reduced or get heat off his back. Or they got him on something.
Or he's just looking for some bus fare.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does seem like, well, one of the things that's fleshed out is Eddie's backstory, right? He goes through that big long thing about his knuckles getting smashed or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I guess that is, and he looks down at them later. We see the scars.
Love that.
And stuff. And I think that is what he's, that is him trying, that's the film saying he's trying to escape that mob justice, right? That's why he's willing to turn everyone in and even say he wants to go somewhere else, that they would. Did I make that up in my head? That he's like,
yeah. Well, I think a lot of people are alluding to I'm out of here, going to Florida, and
Right. No, guys, no. He says he mentions a witness protection program.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I think to your point, it's like this whole idea where the life of crime is so romanticized when you're young, a young buck in this thing, like a Jackie Brown. It's
Goodfellas.
Yeah, and that's even kind of works too with Jackie Brown's character. He has this hot rod fucking car. He's driving around and shit, acting all tough. And I think
he's the young Eddie Coyle.
That's right. And Eddie's seeing through that, of course, because in his mind, which is it's so not heavy-handed the way this is delivered, which is great, is Coyle now. It's like once you realize it's all bullshit and everyone's expendable. There's nothing to be faithful to, and it's all about self-survival, and you make those choices. And that's what's so great about all of that. And very poetic, him looking down at his knuckles later on towards the end of the film, which is great.
Close up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's get to the
first bank robbery.
Let's bank robbery it up.
Yeah. So awesome. Series of kind of dialogue sequences were taken through in the beginning. But then the movie kind of just wow, you really sort of sit up for a second when you are introduced to this guy, Mr. Partridge. He's like a manager of a bank, and he's getting up and having breakfast and getting ready to go to work.
He walks downstairs and is ready to greet his kid and his wife having some cereal.
Yep.
And what does he encounter instead?
He encounters like three guys on a fucking sledgehammer.
1976 Devo masks.
Yeah, well, yes.
Going to your bank. You and I and my friend. My other friend will stay here with your wife and children.
Totally. Actually, the second robbery is a little more Devo-y than the first.
Sure.
Yeah. This is that Miss 45 clear.
Yes, Miss 45. Yes, totally.
So creepy.
Totally.
They are why are they the scariest mask? The clear mask.
Because it's like a very phony, obviously, cartoonish face put over. A real face, and you can't comprehend either.
It's a fusion instead of 100%.
Yeah, right. It's so weird. So chilling. So while the family's eating breakfast, everyone's got guns to their head, but of course he's, this isn't like one of those scenes out of any other film where you'd see sort of histrionic reaction from the wife or the kid. It's all played cold, and everyone's just trying to fall in line and stay calm, and which is great. No score again either, in this moment, even though there's touches of score in this film, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So then they put a bag over his fucking head, and they bring him to the bank. And what's so cool about how this whole bank robbery scene unfolds is it's such simple, quiet, elegant filmmaking, I feel. And it's just it's very Jean-Pierre Melville, as well, as I've said that before. Calm, restrained performances, very still camera, and we're seeing all the people, like the people that work in the bank, they're all just kind of seated around. And
tiny tidbit.
Yeah.
The bank employees were actual bank employees at banks that were robbed.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic.
And I found this out. I saw an Alex Rocco interview where he started trying to chat up with the extras when the cameras weren't rolling, and he was expecting what's your next movie? And they're like, no, I work here.
Yeah.
He's like, damn, son.
Damn, that's awesome.
Alex is impressed.
Yeah, that's amazing. But the tension from this scene, again, no score, no sexy filmmaking, is coming from the bank manager guy. We just see a couple close-ups of him with just beads of sweat on his face, which is amazing. And because he's waiting for that 8:48 time happens when the vault opens, and is it going to open? What the fuck's going to happen? So then, of course, they rob the bank. Terrific scene.
And the well thought out, beautiful, methodic pacing of it.
Totally.
One guy, the one great detail was, and this feels like something from a true crime, Police Blotter. One of the guys has 2 strips of electrical tape on the side of his jacket, and he peels off one, puts it on camera 1, peels off the second.
I know, it's perfect.
Nice touch.
Great, and everything is, these guys right off the bat, you're professional. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it to the T. Then they take the bank teller guy away. Oh, and just the whole setup of it too, to have a guy with a gun pointed at his family. So if anything happens, they're just going to kill his fucking family.
No, and there's a guy on the phone across the street.
Across the street.
I'm talking to wifey here, so I got eyes on you, and I'm here. So,
and then they know that the bank or the vault's going to open 15 minutes till open or whatever. That it's going to automatically set that time. But then you are waiting. They're like, how long? What time does the bank open? It's or the vault open. It's 8:48 or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then it almost feels like you're sitting there for 2 minutes with them, waiting for the lock to go,
hoping that it happens. Like I said, yeah, exactly. And so then they take the guy away. They fucking blindfold him again, and this is such a great little elegant touch. And then they just say all right, start walking that direction, count to 100, see you later. And he's just in the fucking up against whatever that is, a river or the ocean or whatever. Great wide shot, just showing him.
I was just gonna say,
it
looks like an art film for a second.
Totally,
this black hooded man alone.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love the little insert of his feet in the grass, and there's a board that he's almost stepping on, Totally puts you there.
Yeah.
The hazards of the area.
Forward.
Yeah.
Count to 100 slowly.
Yeah, right. Love it. Love it. So then as we mentioned, you see Coyle's home life, as we talked about, the very blue collar, they may have to go on welfare.
Pretty heartbreaking.
It is. Yeah.
3 nice young kids, going off to school. And
totally.
The wife seems very sweet. It's
very much. And they love each other. They love each other.
That's pretty brutal. Yeah, no, it's a nice relationship. That's pretty brutal.
It is.
Because they could have had a bad domestic scene or no domestic scene, but that really informs and really breaks your heart as the movie continues.
It does, and it humanizes him in a way too. And it's not I'm going to smack my wife around type of archetypal scene.
Raging bull,
right? You fuck my wife, sort of thing. So then we see, Coyle trying to cut this deal with Dave Foley, and now the wheels are turning that, this young kid, Jackie Brown, who's got maybe, he's got too much of a confidence in him. I'm gonna break him down and see right through him, and he'll be the guy that maybe I can feed to Dave Foley in order to reduce my sentence, as I mentioned. And then we see this great subplot developing with Jackie Brown, which is a great subplot where we see him selling machine guns to a guy that looks like, I don't know what, a bad bad company roadie is what I would say.
Sure, I'll buy that.
Like, you know, and his girl and
angel dust dealer at a Grand Funk Railroad show.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's better. That's better. But yeah, and of course his girl, and they're sort of like what, quasi-revolutionaries?
Well, it feels like they're like sub weathermen. Because you're getting way into the 70s now, and like that whole thing is past. But there still were some diehards like that. You know, the SLA was happening.
Sure,
Patty Hearst.
I love how she's sort of bitchy and kind of runs the show. Actually, though, you know, like she sends him up to do the buys or whatever, but she's sort of saying like. She's got the anger. She seems like she's in charge between the 200%. Two of them. You know?
Oh yeah,
mustache guy's dopey. No, but it's a great. It doesn't date the film for me, but it does give it a sweet patina of a time and place.
Absolutely,
you know, like a van of quasi-revolutionaries looking for machine guns from like Boston gangsters. That's so weird because I'm certain that moments like that happen. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So that's amazing. It's awesome. And then. Eddie comes back into the picture with Jackie Brown. I need the fucking guns tomorrow night. You got to get me the rest of the guns. And of course, Jackie's reluctant to do so, but Eddie goes on with one of his long soliloquies about why, you know, when a man needs his shit, he needs his shit. And so that leads to Jackie kind of driving all night to try and find these guns. But he's got to make another stop, which is to acquire the M16 machine guns for the weathermen, if you will, the pseudo weathermen. And he's driving with some guy who, I don't know, in my head looks like Mark Zuckerberg, but like pre-curly hair Zuckerberg.
Like a sketch of a serial killer kind of thing.
Yeah. yes.
He looks like a weird troubled youth, you know.
Yes.
No, and they're driving. And what I love is that this is also, I'm sure this is like right out of a crime blotter, but it's like soldiers stealing from the armory.
Oh yeah, that's what it feels like. Totally.
Yeah, like so. Totally. It's like a couple soldiers are like ne'er-do-wells, and they're like, maybe we can make an extra $200 if we like, you know, have these things fall off a truck here, you know, as we're like moving around weaponry. At like the base, you know, like, oh, so great. Because that shit happens.
Totally. And it shows that Jackie Brown is somewhat smart in not trusting anybody, not about to wander off into the woods with other guys with machine guns.
He has some street smarts. Yeah.
And I feel like
But then again, he's playing like against like some real rank amateurs.
I know. Those guys.
You know, they're teenage boys basically.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see that contrast because they felt like really like dopey, unprepared, and timid compared to him. Like they were not going to screw him over in the woods, right?
They look like the guys in Goodfellas who Ray Liotta comes over and punches the guy out. It's like, don't shoot, you know, when they're
yes.
soda. Yes. You know, they just are out of their league.
Totally. Way over their head. They're in over their head. And you know, Jackie's taking no chances. And it shows that side of him, which I think is interesting, that like, you know, he is thinking ahead of all the possibilities that could happen and the dangers of what he's dealing with. But of course,
of the possibilities.
because of course that's going to backfire on him shortly.
Yes.
And so then after he gets the machine guns, we cut to the second bank robbery scene, which is also terrific. And I love how it's introduced in the film. It's actually the way again, just like the first bank robbery scene, we're sort of lured into it through the bank manager's home life. In this case, we're following a woman to work, and she opens the door and she's coming into her shift. Yeah. And then you just hear that bank manager or someone that works there being like, "Be cool, we're being robbed, come in." You know, and then it reveals just all these guys wearing scary fucking Devo masks, like Devo for real.
Masks, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. My note says Devo masks.
I love it.
Yeah. But then, of course, in great dramatic, you know, writing, you know, here for this, this is starting to get not as cool and smooth as the first attempt, the first robbery. This one, of course, introduces the X factor of someone who works at the bank who's slowly, in great tension, in the close-up of his hand as he's going for the alarm.
Twitchy finger alarm.
Absolutely.
Devo face sees him. And it's game over. He's the guy who warns the girl who comes in.
That's right. That's right. And he decides to take that chance right as the guy who's the manager is saying, "Don't do anything stupid. I've been through 5 or 6 of these in my time.
I know. In 38 years, 4 of these have happened.
Like, who cares?
1, 2, 3.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's not your money.
Don't be heroic. Don't be stupid."
I feel like the guy got a little cocky because the Devo face guy kind of insulted him, right? He's like, "And you too, lover," or whatever. Or, he sort of said something.
Lover boy or something. I don't know, whatever he said. And then, of course, like, he hits the button and then instantaneously cut to very scary Devo mask, side angle.
I said, "What did you do?" "You hit the alarm. Told you not to do it, and you did it."
What did you do? And like, and that moment, you really feel like, oh fuck, it's really kind of stomach dropping.
Well, can I just say, just back to the cinema of all this?
Yeah,
when you make a film with such restraint, often quiet, slowly paced, evenly paced, elegant, you're really rewarded as a filmmaker because when you have a scene of heavy violence for a split second, it's more impactful.
Yeah. And this is the first, I believe, in
than like the Boondock Saints, for instance. I'm kidding. No, but what I'm saying is, I'm kidding. No, but what I mean is, like, right? Yes, right. It's like the first incident of like heavy violence. The guy shot in the chest. He's killed. The bank worker.
Yeah, it's shocking.
So that's what I'm saying. That's the reward you, as the filmmaker and the viewer, get, is because it's so much more impactful.
Yes.
Than if it's like the 17th shooting.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. It really, you feel the weight of that moment pretty, you do. I mean, when that guy dies, you're like, holy shit, these guys are killers now, and that's going to escalate, you know.
I mean, there's only two bullets shot in the first whole movie, right? Or 3, I guess, 2 in that guy, and then 1 later. That's
I think that's it. Yeah. And so then, of course, what did you do? He hit the alarm, shoots him. And then this is when... I think it's right after this scene, then we see Peter Boyle talking to Dave Foley. And I actually wrote this here, Tom. My notes say he probably set up Eddie. That's what I did write.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I thought that at the time. And I think you're supposed to think that to some extent.
Okay. Right.
Then we get to this great moment, which is just a good little flourish because it really shows the socioeconomic, if you will, level, or just the fact that this is groceries. This is not a sexy gangster guy who, sends his wife out to get groceries. No,
he's got celery and Wonder Bread.
Yeah, right.
Bro.
Yeah. He's getting the fucking groceries at the supermarket. Great little shot of him pushing the cart with all that shit too. Amazing.
Classic.
And he's getting the guns from Jackie that he forced him to deliver the next day. But then
now, what does Jackie say offhandedly?
Well, yeah.
As he's closing the hood of his trunk.
Well,
and he's saying he's in a hurry. What does he say to Eddie?
He says, "I have to be at the train station by 3:30." Blah blah blah.
Unload these machine guns.
Yeah, exactly. To unload these machine guns. Not a good move. And then of course he even shows Eddie the machine guns. And Eddie's like, holy shit, like what the fuck is that? What do you need that for? Like these young kids getting involved in needless shit like that. And so Eddie clocks it. Now he knows, and he goes, and as soon as Jackie Brown drives off, first thing he does is go right up to that payphone, ring, Dave Foley.
Oh shit.
And shit's on. And then it cuts right to, very economic, Jackie Brown pulling up to the train station. And then we start to see Dave Foley and his crew are there. And they are staked out, waiting for when they're going to pounce.
Right. And Jackie Brown still thinks he's a smarter guy than he is, though.
Totally.
Because he thinks he's going to play this thing like, I'm going to wait around for 2 hours and see how many of these cars kind of cycle out and how many are just planted here.
Yeah.
By the way, tiny little thing, the end of the scene in the groceries parking lot.
Yeah.
It's like after he gets all the intel from Jackie, like he winks at him and goes like, God's looking down on you.
Yeah, I know.
You remember that? You know what I'm talking about? Because he knows, like, he's basically going, cha-ching, thank you for the intel.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just want to mention that.
Yep. And then there's kind of like this. Well, it's another gunshot because I think they like fire a shotgun at his fucking windshield. Right. And then they fucking smash into him, box him in, arrest his ass, and Jackie immediately knows who sold him out.
You see it on his face. He does the quick math. He's like, fucking Eddie fingers.
Eddie fingers fingered him, and then he says even earlier in the film, you know, when he's talking to those military, we're making that up, but that, you know,
I think so.
The like Zuckerberg guys, he's mentioning to him like, hey, like, you know, it's fucking life in prison for, you know, dealing machine guns.
Yeah, in this state.
So that context is laid. And then you're like, oh shit. So when Jackie gets hit, you're like, well, that's the end of his life right there. Boom.
Yeah,
you know, which is pretty hardcore. But also shout out to that scene at the train station. Beautiful fall, autumn, or whatever the fuck that is, winter. Just the browns and the sky.
It's like brown suede jacket. You know,
it's beautiful. Really is beautiful. It's picturesque.
With that nice yellow pop of his car.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. So, he's gone, and then you know, then we see the real desperation of Eddie Coyle as he immediately meets up with Dave Foley, and basically just says, okay, is that good enough? Is that good enough? Is that good enough? Is this going to get me off? Is this going to do this? Did you call the guy? Did you make sure that the guy up in New Hampshire, you know, the judge or whatever the fuck is going to, you know, is going to be lenient on me? And of course, he's like, I can't promise anything. And it doesn't look good because you got to do more. We need more from you. What are you working on next? Right. What, you know, because then
he wants to squeeze the lemon dry for every last drop. Like this is just the beginning, Eddie fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's you know,
it's
then
so sick.
It's ugly. Very sick. It's very ugly. And then, you know, Eddie's coming to terms with it. You know, you're telling me you want to turn me into a permanent fink, you know, and so that's very disheartening for him because he thought that was sort of his get out of jail free card.
Of course.
But now he's got to turn more people in, and the stakes are going to raise more in terms of who he's going to betray, and
wants to go up the food. The cops want to go up the food chain, bigger fish to fry.
Yep.
And how about those bank robberies?
Yes, exactly. So, and there's a great moment in that when Coyle goes to visit Scalise, Alex Rocco, at his house, which I love that scene too, with the girl he's got there who's in on it.
Well, that's what I mean. That's like the good life of Goodfellas.
Totally. He's counting out hundreds, like, you know, things are good. You know, she's getting him a beer.
Like, hey, honey, tell him what you do for a living.
Oh yeah, what did she say again?
I'm a stewardess.
Oh, a stewardess. Yeah, and they're like,
Eddie, I got a stewardess over here.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't wear underwear.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. So, but yeah, so there's a great moment when he gives him the guns, and then Scalise pays him for the guns. And then you see great performance moment from Mr. Mitchum when he's kind of looking up and down at Alex Rocco, and he's kind of examining him for a minute, and he's contemplative, and then he's like, "Hey,
Jimmy, you gonna need any more guns?
I could use anything you can get.
Maybe, perhaps, you know." And that's the moment where it's hitting him when he's like, "Okay." This is my next meal ticket. This
is the bigger fish that they need fried. And I also love that he's looking down at just cold hard cash too.
Oh yeah,
you know, because the thing is, one detail is Alex Rocco's like getting him his money out of a big fat wad of cash.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's great.
And he's almost drooling. There's a nice shot of Mitchum looking down like cash.
Yeah.
A lot of cash.
Totally.
It's all so sick. What a sick world we live in.
It is so sick. So sick. So then the bank robbers are on their way to carry out their third robbery, and
great third look.
Yeah, they got these ski masks the sewn mouth closed.
Bro, where do I get those?
I know.
And they're all like red, white, and blue. And they're all sick.
Yeah, they're very cool.
But they're all a little different.
It's
beautiful.
Yeah, I do love how they change their look for each robbery.
I love that. So fun. So fun. Gotta have that. So, but so they're on their way to presumably another bank manager's home, and they had this conversation about, well, Peter Boyle told me that Eddie Coyle might rat out us, you know, in exchange for this prison sentence he's got. So they're kind of hip to it, but then you realize as the viewer that Peter Boyle's the one that's planting that thought into the bank robbers. Right. Let's hold on to that for a second.
Eddie Fingers.
Yeah, let's hold on to that for a second. Then they go into the house, and then this is what's very disorientating, even for the viewer, is you're not expecting Dave Foley to fucking show up in the fucking house.
April Fool, motherfuckers.
and arrest
April
these.
Fools.
I know, April Fools.
Which is something we're quite aware of that phrase here.
Yes, we totally are. So then they arrest those fools.
We should use that every April Fools.
Yes,
that
totally.
shot from the movie.
Totally, April Fools. So he fucking arrests them, and you're trying to think like, well, how did Eddie Coyle frame them? Because that's the kind of clever trap that you want Eddie Coyle as our hero to have pulled off. But of course, it cuts to a meeting, another meeting with Dave Foley. Coyle walks in, and they start talking about the bank robbery. Coyle starts talking about, I can get you these guys who are the bank robbers. And I'm even thinking as the viewer for a second, is this a flashback? Like to how this thing came about?
Okay, interesting.
That's what I thought originally, when I'm watching it and then, or rewatching it. And then of course it's not. No, you didn't see the fucking newspaper, you moron.
No, it's just like, hey, I can get you those bank robbers. And then Dave Foley just like slightly chuckles. Like, well, isn't this amusing?
Yes.
Read today's headline, numbnuts.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit. That's crushing.
It is crushing. Very.
Because that's really the pivot. I mean, Eddie at this point realizes like, I'm probably going to die.
I know. That's like his...
this is the end. It's the end.
It's like his Jack Lemmon in Glengarry Glen Ross moment.
Thank you. It's like, my daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
But then of course, the Fed, the G-man just so callously just walks away like, yeah, that guy's a jive turkey. Like, okay, yeah, tell me all about the bank robbers, Eddie,
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cold. He's so heartless.
It's so heartless. And now he's like got to figure out something else. And but then we, see that it's Peter Boyle is behind, of course, giving up, Scalise. And then Peter Boyle's meeting with some sort of higher up mafioso guy who's getting a direct order from the man, the boss, to basically whack Eddie, and it has to be done tonight. The
higher up is the principal from Back to the Future, too.
That's right.
By the way,
yes, that's
like
right.
You're a slacker, McFly.
Totally. And so, just to cut to the chase, because I know you want to spend time on the ending. We see the scene. Coyle shows up at the bar. He's there. He's talking about someone had to have set them up, and that's when he looks at his knuckles, and you have that moment. And Peter Boyle just goes.
Peter has this guilty look on his face, and he looks away a little bit.
Yeah,
like he almost can't take the depressing visage of Eddie stewing and trying to like sort out how he got screwed over.
Totally.
You guys catch that?
No, 100%. And then Boyle races to the payphone, decides, okay, I can do this hit tonight, just bring the envelope. And then he decides to take Coyle out to a hockey game. This is amazing. Blackhawks game. And we see this, Blackhawks versus the Bruins game, a real game from 1972.
It's incredible.
It suddenly
whenever
becomes
they shoot stuff like that. Whenever they shoot something like that for a film, it's incredible. How did they do it? How did they pull that off?
Yeah. And it's so cool that it's a real game, awesome verite. It's, hockey during an era without helmets, it's amazing to see that. And of course it's sad because what's coming, right? But there's still the tension of what's going to happen. To Marcus's point, is there going to be a turn? Is there going to be
I gotta say there's another failing. Really, this is like the failing of Eddie as much as anything, this film. He starts drinking
too much.
Almost immediately. Like he gets the bad news and it's like 2 beers. And he's been drinking beers steadily.
Before that. Yeah.
Shots. Yeah. So he's been getting very, very pickled to the moment where he can barely walk forward to go into the car. And which is perfect for Peter Boyle, who's probably like hasn't had a drink of alcohol the whole time. Now sitting next to them is my MVP of the film.
I know.
Which is this like greasy, horrifying 16-year-old. You know what I call him? He is scalping tickets at an Aerosmith concert.
There you go.
Right? What's up?
Yeah. Totally.
That guy gives me chills.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
15-year-old greaseball.
He really is a total scumbag, that guy.
Ugh,
yeah.
Gross.
And then here we go, man. Just absolutely grim as fuck. Eddie passes out in the car, and they wait for the moment. Peter Boyle.
Even then, I'm hoping that he's just faking being asleep. Or
I know.
something. You know what I mean?
Eddie? Yeah, he's a mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I'm just hoping.
Cold
you know?
check.
Hey, actually, really quickly, can I just preface this thing? There's the most incredibly sad moment is when he's like, number 4, Bobby Orr. He's so young. He's got his life ahead of him.
Number 4, Bobby Orr. Jeez, what a future he's got, huh?
And that's that sad kind of like old man drunk.
Totally.
Like kind of like lost glory, youth, like the feelings. The faded feelings of his own life, and he's like vicariously living through like the rock star Bobby Orr sportsman. He's like, "You go get him, buddy!" And that to me,
that's true. Yeah.
Kind of the most depressing part.
It is, and like,
but anyway,
what a great game! What a great game!
Yeah, exactly.
And then he falls asleep in the car. Peter Boyle's in the back seat, and he pulls out a fucking gun, and
well,
bam.
him and Aerosmith Scalper have a very matter of fact conversation. Like,
yeah.
So let's see, like, what kind of money are we talking about here? And like, should I park the car? And it's just like the guy they're about to kill passed out. We're over here, and they're just talking about like the logistics of this circumstance right now. It's
so
cold. He's like 15-year-old kid. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. So then So then they fucking shoot Eddie, and he's dead. And then they pull up to the fucking parking lot of a bowling alley or whatever the fuck it is. And they're just talking about leaving his fucking corpse in the car, and someone will find it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and they say, lock the car.
Yeah.
We don't need volunteers to check it out.
Yeah, right.
That's a nice touch. That kind of little slang.
So heartless, as you said before. And that's it. Talk about 70s peak grim ending.
I think it's up there. This might be one of the bleakest endings I've ever seen. There's a little addendum. There's the parked car with the corpse in it, but then it's just a very quick moment where it's Foley talking to Peter Boyle, like wrapping things up, and it just looks and feels very just transactional.
Yep.
Like I needed this, you needed that, and here's your $20, and here, and
and
I got my like my head on a plate, and see you later.
Yeah,
thanks.
and it also alludes to the fact that this is just a cycle that continues. It's like one Peter Boyle's the criminal that's gonna rat this week, and this guy Peter Boyle's probably next.
He's gonna get ratted out by the scalper.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a cycle that continues, a very grim dog eat dog world, and that's just kind of what this film is to show. And
it's pitch perfect in the aesthetic rendering of it.
Yes.
And kudos to Yates.
Yeah.
And all the performances, and specifically, Mitchum carries the film beautifully with that face of such power.
Yes, totally. It is. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go out and see it. It's one of the monsters of 70s American film, and specifically crime. Boom! All right. We did it. That was 1 fucking hour on Friends of Eddie Coyle, kicking off.
The first of our crime time.
Yeah, crime time, guys. 1 fucking hour, 1 fucking summer crime time. So very, very excited about that. And what a great one to kick it off with. And there's so much more we're going to get to. And it feels good to be back in the swing of things. I wasn't sure. It's like, fuck, we haven't recorded in a month. This is the longest we've ever gone without recording an episode.
That's a good point.
In 4.5 years, I think, which is crazy.
Easily, yeah.
Crazy.
Well, it was a special timing.
It was a special time, of course. I'm not taking that away, but just, fuck, it's good to be back. So here we are. We're back. Let's talk about next week. Let's just get right into it. I'm very excited. This is another film we've talked about for a very long time. And oddly enough, I've been getting requests for this film, or I've been getting requests for a film from this filmmaker. And this is kind of the one that's like the favorite of mine of this particular filmmaker. So very excited. We're going to sneak it in for Crime Time. So here we go. Next week, we're going to the 80s, y'all. And we're going to be hitting up our first ever Abel Ferrara film on the channel.
Uh-oh.
Very excited about that.
It's something.
Yeah, I'll be very excited to tell my Abel Ferrara story. When I had an interesting encounter with the man. We'll talk about that. But the film in question is The King of New York. We're going to be doing next week, starring, of course, Christopher Walken. Dude, this movie, I love the way this movie looks. There's some incredible set pieces. The soundtrack we're going to get into.
Of course.
Style for days.
This jump started our talking about the movie because we were talking about the the killer hip hop that's playing.
Yes.
Because the thing you were saying the 80s, but just very distinctly, this is the very end of the 80s.
It is,
This
yeah.
like hip hop, New York City 80s.
What
know?
is this? 88? What is this movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, something like that. Right?
89 even. You know,
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I know, because I was even thinking, is it 90? 89 or 90?
90. Holy
90.
shit! It's
Oh, it's
90.
90. Well,
Fuck
but it's
me.
late
All
80s.
right.
You know?
Well, we're going
Right.
to the 90s.
Well, whatever. The late 80s. Trust me,
Sure.
the vibe is late 80s.
Yeah.
But like, no, and it's it's the same but different. It's bleak in a different color
Yes,
palette.
for
you
sure.
know?
Yes,
it's
for sure.
just as bleak in its own way.
It is. It's very exciting. So King of New York will be next for Crime Time. And yeah, very excited about that. Of course, the Patreon again. Just want to quickly shout out. Where is it? The patreon.com/onefuckinghour. New bonus episode coming soon, y'all. We're gonna do our favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes. Probably not maybe at the time you hear this, but shortly after the time you hear this, we're gonna
Right
get
around
on
the
that.
corner.
Right around the corner. But yeah, sign up. $5 a month, best way to support the show. Or if you want to sign up on YouTube, you of course can go to our channel homepage or scroll underneath this video, click the join button, become a Momin, and we appreciate your support. Thanks everybody who signed up during the hiatus. We appreciate that. Instead of canceling, that
Right.
was great to
Well,
know.
maybe you caught up on all the bonuses
Exactly.
over the past 4 weeks.
There you go.
'cause there's plenty of bonus to
bonus.
scope out during
Yeah.
that time, right?
Totally.
And but we are back, baby.
We're
so
back.
watch out, world.
Watch out. And get in the description of this video. Click the links to some of the Black Sabbath concert footage from the wedding after party. It's definitely worth your time
So
to
fun. So
experience
fun.
that. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you guys so much. Of course, we can't leave you without your moment of Zen. All right, everybody. I don't know what the fuck that's going to be. It'll be a little tricky, but I'm sure it's going to be something good. So we'll get to that, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Of course, for King of New York, guys. Very excited. All right, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you on the flip side. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.
You're with your baby, and you're parked alone on a summer night. You're deep in love, but you're deeper in the woods. You think you're doing alright. Did you hear that voice? Did you see that face? Or was it just a dream? This can't be real, that only happens, babe, on the movie screen. Oh, but he's back. He's the man behind the mask, and he's out of control. He's back. The man behind the mask, and he crawled out of his hole.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
That was wicked, man.